Alright, picture this. You got the warmth and charm of analog tape mixed with the limitless possibilities of digital production. Sounds like the best of both worlds, right? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. How to sync a vintage cassette recorder with your DAW for a hybrid recording setup that's full of character and creativity. In today's video, I'm showing you how to sync my Tascam 688 tape recorder with Logic Pro, and how you can mix the best of both worlds, analog and digital, in your home studio. It's a great way to get the classic tape warmth while still using all the benefits of your DAWs, plugins, MIDI and automation. So let's talk about how it all works. To do this, you'll need a few things. A vintage multi-track tape recorder like this Tascam 688, an audio interface for routing signals between your DAW and the tape machine, 2 free pieces of software called Time, Code, Clock and Lockstep that let your DAW talk to your tape machine. I'm using Logic Pro for this demo, but it should work with any DAW that can read MIDI timecode. First off, we record a sync code onto the tape. This is basically a timecode that tells your DAW what position you're up to in the song. Once that's set, we can play the tape back into the computer and boom, Logic should lock in with the tape machine. If you want to see exactly how it works, I've linked a step-by-step guide below. But for now, let's jump ahead and skip into the fun part, actually using the hybrid setup. Alright, everything's hooked up and I've got a couple of tracks recorded in Logic. Now it's time for the first test. The big question is, will the tape machine control Logic's transport and will everything stay in sync? Hopefully when we press play on the tape machine, it should kick Logic into action and everything should stay in sync. Alright, let's do it. We can see the sync track coming through, and if we look at the computer, we can see that the transport has turned blue and started to move. The sync symbol has also turned on, so it's looking good. I've left the space at the start of the track to give the computer time to lock in with the tape's timecode. There we are, it worked, and we have audio coming from Logic, and if we look at the tape machine, you can see the inputs coming through on monitor left and right. Let's pause for a second, see if it will start up again and stay in sync. We'll press play. Yep, we're back in again, nice one. I've just laid down a guitar and bass to tape, hopefully in sync with the computer. Let's hear it back and see how this hybrid setup is coming together. Right, here we go then. So we've got bass on cue monitor 1 and the guitar on channel 2. Yeah, so it all seems to be good. So 2 tracks on tape now, the rest on the computer. So I'll fill up the other available tracks with some backing vocals and then come back and do a bit of a mix and see how we can utilize the other functions. Alright, so all the tracks are laid down. Let's have a look at how we're going to mix it. Now I've decided to add in this side mixer so I can do some extra processing of the tracks coming from Logic. So I've got it laid out, so I've got drums, guitar and vocals, so they're all separated out on different tracks. It gives me a few more opportunities to EQ things in the analog domain and also add some other effects from the Allen & Heath mixer. Okay, so let's press play and see if it all syncs and then have a little kind of look at what's happening with the mix. Got started off with some sound effects that I recorded next to the sea last year. The bass is on here, the acoustics cross on the side mixer. So that's everything combined at the moment. I'm walking slow. If I cut out the group option or group monitor option here, we're just left with the tracks that are playing through from the DAW. So vocals on track 1, acoustic on track 2, then I've got drums on these 3 tracks. So let's have a little focus on the drums. Let's turn the guitar and vocals off. So I've got the kick and snare on track 1 and 2 here. Might just EQ those a little bit. A little bit more thud onto the kick. Try on the snare as well. And the overheads are on 5 and 6 here, so it's a stereo pair coming from Logic. I'd quite like to add some external effects here, so I'm just going to turn those on. I have to do it in 2 tracks so it kind of works as a stereo pair. Okay, so I've got a little bit of slap verb going on there. That may be a touch too much, but we can always adjust that, take it down a little bit. Let's bring back in the kick and snare. Alright, I'm going to hit tape track back in so we can get the bass coming on. And then I can mix the tape track in with what's coming from Logic. Not going to add any more bass to the track, I think that's fine as it is. Now I've got the electric here, I want to cut a little bit of the low end out. That's about right. Let's add in the singing back in. Just going to cut a little bit more of the low end out. There we go. And bring the acoustic back in. Gotta cut some low end out of the acoustic as well. It's a bit bass heavy otherwise. Alright, so that gives you an overview of what things sound like at the moment. Now there's quite a lot more scope you can play around with here. I currently don't have any effects on the Tascam, but I could send that across to like a tape delay or a reverb and mix that in as well. But it certainly gives you some flexibility to try some different ideas out and combine the 2 systems together in hopefully quite a productive way. Well, I'm going to rewind a bit and have a listen to the rest of the tracks on the tape machine. There's a couple of backing vocals on track 5 and 6, so we'll turn those up ready for when they come in on the chorus. Let's fast forward to get to the chorus. Now, if you're interested in getting a bit more detail about how this whole system works, let us know and I could do a tutorial about it. I also will just chuck this track on to Bandcamp if anyone wants to listen to the whole thing. Kind of a working demo really, but it's maybe got something there. Okay, so it definitely works, but there are a couple of little glitches here and there. I mean, occasionally it drops out, particularly if you're recording more than one thing at one time. It doesn't seem to like that very much. But overall, I mean, it's kind of fun to use. I mean, it's certainly nice having a bit more control over your mixes. I mean, having the extra drum tracks over on the DAW was quite useful. It meant I could use some extra EQ and put some kind of effects on there, which I definitely liked. The other kind of pros are, of course, you can mix your plugins with your hardware reverbs and delays and stuff, which is definitely something I'm going to explore a bit more. Another one of the problems, though, is I think I might have recorded the sync track a bit loud and it spilled through on a couple of the tracks. So if I do it again, I'll have to look at another way of doing that. Of course, this is using free software. You can obviously buy a MIDI interface, which might be slightly better. Anyway, yeah, it's been fun trying it out. I'll probably give it another shot in another video. But otherwise, yeah, thanks for watching and hope to see you next time.